Welcome to the Nerd Party.
I'm Darren Moser.
I'm Phillip Gilfus.
I'm Daniel Prue.
And this is City Alpha 3.
Hello and welcome to another episode of City Alpha 3, a Star Trek podcast, here on the Nerd Party Network. I'm joined, as I always am, by my Nerd Partiers, Darren Moser and Daniel Prue. How are you all doing?
Well, the sun went away a little bit today. I thought it was the Dyson sphere, but instead it was just the moon.
I thought it was actually
It would be much better.
I always thought it was the Viridian 3 missile.
Oh, yeah.
Because, you know, it would instantaneously blow up the sun and we would see it as soon as it happened.
Right.
I mean, all our sacrifice would be worth it for moving the, the Nexus path into, I don't know, wherever it's heading.
See, that's actually not many people hear about that in Generations when the City Alpha system was destroyed to make way for the Nexus.
Oh, yeah. They didn't care.
Yeah. So, but luckily, through a temporal time loop, it's saved, and here we are. So, but speaking of unique tales such as that, Daniel's been doing a great series here on City Alpha 3, which if you haven't listened to, please look at our back catalog of, examining the different ship positions, the doctors, the first officers, and all that. But of course, when you do that, we leave so many out because they don't really fit into any of these usual roles. And so, for this episode, we're going to kind of talk about the unique roles that each series kind of brings. With Star Trek Discovery, I don't know as of yet of any per se unique roles other than Death Sayer,
resident alien on the bridge.
Sayer, yep.
Death Sayer.
But there are two captains. I'm sure they'll probably have something new other than what we know. But kind of to look back into the Star Trek franchise, as always, we begin with my favorite and yours. That's Enterprise. You can just play the theme song in your head for a second.
Been a
Thank
long
you. There we go.
road.
No, it's
getting from Enterprise to TOS.
So I'm in the third season now because I'm trying to warp 5 speed through Enterprise. So I'm done when Discovery happens here in the short time we have left, almost less than a month, folks.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but my wife of course sort of watches along with me, and I think she's enjoying it. But anyway, we got to the third season, and I just played the first episode, let the theme song just start, and then I just stared at her to see if she'd notice.
Oh, that had changed.
I'm like, oh god.
Yeah.
Kind of like, what the?
Not unusual.
Now,
that doesn't change that much.
Well, I don't know. We enjoy it. We enjoy the first and second season theme song, and we enjoy playing our guitar riffs at the end of every episode. But let's see. Her opinion was that with the third season, we both don't like the up tempo, but she says that she would like it, the new version, if it was slower. Because we both like the content of the song. I mean, people don't like it, that's fine, but we kind of like it. Faith of the Heart, for Here From There, and all that stuff. But it's kind of it's not a poppy song. If it has meaning, you can't really speed it up. It kind of loses its meaning. But anyway, so Enterprise, that's the NX-01. So this was the first position I thought of was chef. So
the all elusive. I mean, we see him so much.
Well, we get. I mean, yeah, it's not labeled as such, but we get some type of character sometimes, at least represented that way in the future.
I mean, we know he at least looks a lot like Will Riker. Otherwise, people would have noticed.
I mean,
no, I'm just kidding.
Well, I mean, because Neelix is a chef. They call him the morale officer, but he is the chef.
Well, he's
you're jumping ahead, Daniel.
Yeah, he's the mess officer in charge of the mess hall. Well, that was sort of out of necessity, though. I mean, Enterprise is right,
because you don't really have replicators.
Right.
You have protein resequencers and stuff. So
I mean, chef is like a chefy chef, like Chef Boyardee, kind of like that, but
he was poached from a really 5-star casino and placed on the NX-01 for its maiden voyage.
Now, what did you all think of? I mean, Riker aside. What did you all think of the idea of Chef never having him be the Wilson of the series?
It was fun. It was done enough that, I mean, it's not like his character was seen like every other episode, and you're like, why don't we see this? Where it gets kind of weird, but it worked. The guy's always mentioned but never seen. I
wish the payoff was better, because obviously I know they didn't plan on having Riker there the whole time. I wish that there was a character there. I don't know who it could be, but like the writers,
it's Shran in really bad human makeup.
Yeah. It would be cool to have it be someone recognizable or someone with a bit of a twist.
It was Guinan the whole time.
Yeah.
See? No.
He just hides his antenna underneath his chef's hat.
And
that's why
Guinan is around, but of course we wouldn't. That would be crazy. No, we can't have that. But it would be cool to have someone else, I would say.
Maybe it's Guinan's sister, but also played by Whoopi Goldberg. Would that make it better?
No.
Daniel?
Also named Guinan. They actually only have...
Blinan.
Blinan.
Oh, Lordy. Well, the one things I and this is being negative, I know, but I was thinking like, okay, makes sense. Do you have a chef aboard an XO1? Like you said, you have the protein resequencer, but kind of chef is almost like the, like Phlox, except more.
He's more the executive chef. Like, does he really prepare for the rest of the crew, or just the?
But he's sort of the more edible Phlox, where assuming he brought on his own.
Did you just say the more edible Phlox?
Yes, like Phlox has his collection of bugs and leeches, and you're not going to eat those. But I'm sure Chef has his own weird collection of spices, and like he's actually cooking back there. One presumes. Well, we saw it when Hoshi was trying to make her soup. So
when she was going insane, yeah.
So because I'm thinking about like in Star Trek VI, we saw there was a mess, and I'm like, I don't really think you have those anymore. I think you just made that up for the scene to.
Actually, is a really good example, or well, at least I guess it's kind of arguing against the point, but that was like an official banquet, and it looked like they had servers and like a whole kitchen
there were
crew.
Chafing dishes. I mean, there was everything. They went the full 9 yards, which I mean, I can get also for. I don't know, just the whole, it's like a diplomatic dinner. I mean, it's not obviously where the bridge crew eats on a regular basis.
You get this sense in Star Trek VI, though. You do get this sense that it was prepared by someone. Well,
we see the kitchen, too, where they're searching and they vaporize the pot.
And compare that to the scene from...
I mean, of course, every Starfleet kitchen is equipped with phasers, of course.
Behind
what if the bird's not dead by cooking? We'll make sure.
Or just cooking that bad, they need self-defense from the crew.
Also, not officially, obviously a Starfleet title, but Papa Sisko is a chef as well.
That's true. That's true. Right. I know. I actually do like that aspect of Star Trek where, there would be people who don't really like replicated stuff, even though it's all fictional and you could basically say it tastes exactly the same. I mean,
you could all say it's chemically identical, but you could be one of those crackpot people.
Yeah. They're like, no, it's like, or like when Riker cooks and it's like, I had to source these eggs from Davidian 3 or something. It's like, man, basic ingredients seem really hard to come by nowadays since farming ended.
Are people in Star Trek who refuse to cook or refuse to eat replicated food, are they like tinfoil hat people that won't use a cell phone?
No, I think they're more the Amish of the 24th century.
Or a transporter.
Yeah.
I just feel like these people are would be kind of chastised.
Well, I mean, you think about Picard's family. Robert, he doesn't use a replicator.
He doesn't even look. He uses plows or anything. This man is so stuck 500 years in the past. Mm-hmm. That doesn't. I always thought that was an insular incident. But what about cooking? I don't know. It's
a lost art. I would think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't Picard buy them a replicator?
No.
Or not buy, but you know what I mean.
I don't think so.
Replicate them.
I think the wife wanted one, but he was Robert was no.
I mean, they don't even have. I don't think. Maybe they do, but I don't remember specifically.
Look, they got indoor plumbing last year.
Electric light. Yeah, so it's so silly.
Well, I'm sure it's not electrical.
Look, let's not start talking about TNG and candles because we don't want to go there.
Well, it's interesting. We do have you mentioned this with the Star Trek VI reference, but we do have a ship steward, Crewman Daniels, and is sort of an official position. I mean, that'd be
or did he just make that up so that he could covertly get on Enterprise. Like, that's not actually a position, because I don't remember them replacing that.
No, I mean, they continued. I mean, think about every time Captain Archer has a meal with Trip and T'Pol or whoever. You know, he always has his little breakfast with the captains. So he always has a steward bring in the meal. So, yeah, I mean, sort of very.
Is that all a steward would do?
Yeah. Well, I this is where I call ignorance. I was never in the Navy, but that's part of what they do. I suppose it's chef helper. I don't know. I don't want to feel like they're sort of like the waiters and butlers.
Someone's got to load the dishwasher. You know, there's stuff to be done. Peel the potatoes, space potatoes.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be an interesting thing to sign up to be in Starfleet.
I don't think you sign up to it. Maybe you either you do terribly on your exams.
He's on his way to chef. That's where you got to start.
Yeah, or it's like a track.
So he's assistant to the chef.
Yeah, assistant to the ship chef.
Yeah. He's not assistant chef. He's assistant to the chef. It's assistant.
Okay, well, probably a more unique position to Enterprise, one that we do not see, is the Makos. Now, of course, my terrible research, I didn't even bother to look up what that acronym was for. But anyway, it's something commandos.
Would you like to know more?
Yeah. But anyway, so we again starting season 3. That's where I am, of course. Where it's the canon on-screen references. They are military.
Right.
Military Assault Command Operations.
There you go. Military. I think someone just wanted to say Mako, and so they had to.
Just call them SHIELD. I mean, wait, no, that's something different.
So what do you, Daniel? What do you think of the Makos? The for reals military. No argument about whether Starfleet. No, this is for reals. 100% military in Starfleet, or at least on a Starfleet vessel.
Yeah, I like the idea. I really do, and actually, I like the implementation as well in Enterprise, because it shows that there would be a conflict. I think the conflict is a little overinflated in Enterprise, but I do think there would be, there could potentially be situations where there would be conflict. I think even the Enterprise D would have had, in hindsight, a contingent of
1,000 crew. I'm pretty sure they can find some space for a contingent of Makos.
Like, I don't know how many would be, 50 or 30. I have no idea how many would qualify, but I think there would be
a passel of Makos.
There would be some level of Makos and a command structure in place, and because you would definitely need that. It makes total sense. And then in like Deep Space Nine, when we actually see the Dominion War, we literally see our Starfleet officers going to war on at ground level, and it's like wearing their uniforms and everything, and just wearing and having hand phasers, and you're like,
right? It's like there's no standing military.
There's nobody else there to do, nobody that's trained to do this kind of thing. Nobody that has, I don't know, maybe a bigger gun or better equipment.
Or a better species besides humans. We're not the best species to go to war against Jem'Hadar.
It seems very silly to do that. So yeah, I really like the idea of the Makos, and I wish maybe they could do them. Could they do them in Discovery? It'd be tough.
We'll
see.
Well, they couldn't not do them. I mean, I know that sounds like I'm making a joke, but I mean, after Enterprise, we never see them on the original series, but doesn't mean it wasn't in Discovery. Maybe they phased them out in Discovery, and you could show them for the last time.
Or maybe they put them only on ships on the outer edge, although the Enterprise kind of was there, but
yeah, and I enjoyed them because all the Makos in Enterprise, this off the top of my head, were all seemed nice people. I mean, I guess they're all supposed to be nice, but then
unless you got on their bad side.
Well, no, I mean even because Lieutenant Reed was an ass to them. I mean, 100%. But so Major Hayes and all I know they had names, I just can't think of them. Were all cool people. They had
Mako 1, 2, and 3. They were really nice.
There was no reason to have anything wrong with them. But anyway, yeah. And I agree, Daniel. The Deep Space Nine. It was always weird to me too to see the siege of AR or whatever, and it's just like, and I'm like, you guys don't know what you're doing. In other words,
there's
what were they doing 3 months ago? Starship duty, or are you going to say they're all just yellow shirts, security officers, and we just turn them all into infantry? And it doesn't make sense at all.
Activate their programming chip, and they're good to go.
So that's all I could think of for Enterprise, unless you all had something. For TOS, it's kind of hard because TOS kind of started everything, so it's hard for them to say they have a unique thing. But I thought of, what is something they have that we don't ever see again? So thereby making.
I'm sorry. Can I just say one quick thing about Enterprise? Mm-hmm. And this is maybe a little bit of a nod and a wink to a fellow podcaster here, but there is also a On Enterprise, I guess. Yeah, on Enterprise, probably the only projectionist that we would get in Star Trek as well. Right? We don't know who that is, but
Is that really their whole position?
Well, we don't know, but yeah, maybe.
That seems like something a steward could do.
Yes, maybe that's true. Yeah.
Additional duty to Steward is projectionist. But so for TOS, the only thing I could really think of is navigator, just because we don't ever see it after TOS. So we had Chekhov, and then I guess we had.
The march of progress is always ever forward, Philip. These newfangled computers don't need astrogators.
Well, no, I think it's funny though because Enterprise didn't have a navigator. Because you have that.
That's true.
Well, because it was just go away from Earth. Go that away. I mean, how much navigating did you really need?
Because, you had Travis sort of almost like as Tom Paris with that one person up front. Which I think is because that's what happens when you had it after Voyager. But anyway, and so I thought, navigators, and then you had Eric's, I suppose, in the animated series, that was his job. And so, apparently it takes more than two hands. So.
Well, what about Yeoman?
That's true. Only because we don't see it again. But yeah, I agree. So Yeoman, is that, and again, this is where my naval ignorance comes in.
You mean Yo Woman?
Right. It seems to almost be
Yo Person.
Yo Person.
It seems to be advanced steward, from what we see of the yeomans on TOS.
It's steward level 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a lot of bringing coffee.
And chicken sandwiches.
Yeah.
Chicken sandwiches.
And signatures. They get signatures
right.
a lot. I mean, it's bureaucratic. There's lots of
I was
red
going to say,
tape
who's
on
the
this
paperwork officer
Yeah.
on
Hey,
the
the
Enterprise?
bureaucratic mentality is the only constant in the universe.
Yeah, death and tax. Wait, no, we don't have money.
Oh,
So
no.
we, never mind.
Yeah, so, did we ever see any male yeomen? Or was it just like, we're just going to show mini skirts and nod wink?
I have a feeling that's probably what it
That's
was.
sad. Okay. The administrative assistants of space. So, this was during the Mad Men era of space, unfortunately.
Oh, Lord, yeah.
On the Enterprise.
Yeah.
It was a different time. You wouldn't understand.
And then this is also my ignorance too, so people feel free to yell at your podcast devices now. Is Yeoman enlisted or officer? The only reason I ask is because, of course, we see Rand as Commander Rand eventually. So I don't know if she just went back to the academy and got a commission, or I assume that's enlisted, but don't quote me.
I don't know.
Yeah. So anyway, and then well, of course, like who's the Bunsen? Like, do you just have the whistle the whole time, or do you have an additional duty? That's always my question too.
And who keeps, Scotty's bagpipes in peak operating condition?
That's right.
I mean,
The quartermaster, who we never...
Ship's quartermaster.
that's true.
Yeah.
That actually should be a position
Supply
because
clerk,
you still need stuff.
And you still need to keep track of, even in the 24th century, when
Look,
you
the
can have
Great
infinite
River
stuff.
will bring all the things you need to those that will loan out their desk.
All right. Well, as far as going to the 24th century, so for TNG, this is obvious stuff, but we're going to go through it anyway. So counselor, and I know we get some counselor mentions, and we have technically an assistant counselor who becomes a counselor, but we never really see...
There's Dr. McKenna from non-canon Trek, but
that's fan, yeah.
from
fan
Star Trek
production.
Continues.
Oh, that does not count then.
Yeah. But anyways,
Thus I said non-canon.
I don't know. What do you guys think of the fact that we never saw a dedicated ship's counselor, or at least dedicated station counselor? Because Dax really wasn't the counselor. But anyway,
I think it's a good idea for a role to have. I think it's a good. I think these ships probably would have those people trained in those sorts of things. It just probably wouldn't be a major character on the show. That was probably...
They wouldn't be a bridge character.
They certainly wouldn't be a bridge officer. They would interact. You could probably have a lot of interesting episodes.
well, I don't
with
believe in
people
editing.
interacting.
I think they should be an unabridged officer. So
I see what you did there.
But Ezri is a counselor, though, on whatever ship she was stationed on, just not really in Deep Space Nine in her new position.
well, like she was. I had to remember this. Well, not remember. Upon my rewatch of Deep Space Nine, so she's an assistant counselor. Then she gets joined because she's Ensign Dax when we first see her. But then she gets made Lieutenant Junior Grade Dax and becomes a quote-unquote full counselor, and I think it's kind of Benjamin had to pull some strings to kind of promote her. So she became like a,
Think of the experience she's got
yeah.
in a moment, lifetimes of experience.
As she stumbles through helping Garrick. But well, like, how would you use, so we see Deanna's role, which is sort of, listen to the captain in the ready room, and then, have the special side seat and feel about aliens. But presuming, it wasn't a Beta Z, how would you all envision the counselor's role on a starship?
I'd say more like kind of what we get with Chakotay and such, where it's kind of the HR, like they're that liaison representing maybe the enlisted crew, or maybe the families. I mean, just think there's many different other ways you could connect from the bridge to the rest of the ship besides what we see. So I think that could kind of be more of her position where, interpersonal conflicts, which were written out, but I mean, they would exist. So, you would need a counselor for that.
What about you, Daniel?
Yeah, I was just thinking, like, because you mentioned Deep Space Nine talking about Ezri, and it's like, I think that the counselor would be the person who would show up in the cargo bay with Chief O'Brien on Deep Space Nine when he's about to commit suicide. Like, I think there are plenty of times that a counselor would be helpful and important and necessary on a ship or a station. And those roles have typically been filled by other people. But other than that, like, think of, like, Picard going through the inner light, or lots of these traumatic experiences that these people, like, have to deal with on I would say a weekly basis, almost every week. So I mean, it could fill a very important role on the ship. Could be a really awesome secondary character. It just doesn't make sense. I don't want to say it doesn't make sense. It depends on how it's written. But as far as how Star Trek has been written historically, it wouldn't be a bridge crew member. It would just be I think it would fit better as a secondary character.
Yeah, I think, and I don't know, I'm not trying to be ranty here, but I think the 80s, when TNG premiered, obviously, was sort of, well, it wasn't the height, but that was sort of when therapy was sort of more of an end thing in the U.S. And then, that we did it with TNG, and then it's like, oh, well, yeah, I guess that was a mistake or something. But I don't think that's right. Like, in other words, if someone had said, on Discovery, one of our positions is ship's counselor, people would have been like, oh, no, they're mamby-pambying up this show. Ugh. But I'm like, that's a for real mental health on deep space. That would be a for real legit position. And I mean,
do you know what they would say? Do you know what the articles would say, Phillip? The Discovery is filled with safe spaces.
The Snowflake Starship.
Yep. Oh, there you go. There's your title right there.
But I mean, I just think, as much as people can rag sometimes on Troy, her presence shows that, hey, mental health is just as... I mean, she's literally sitting right next to the doctor sometimes on the bridge, that she's just another, health specialist. And so I think that was something sad that we kind of lost with Deep Space Nine and Voyager. And, because there were times in Voyager where I think the doctor was like, oh, we don't have a ship's counselor. I wish we did now, because I'm not programmed to do it. But we've never seen them again, since then.
Voyager would have benefited most of all, I think, from a ship's counselor.
How do we deal with everyone we know we're never going to see again?
Yeah.
I think that's,
Or maybe give it 7 years before you despair. Just,
I mean, all of the shows, I think, could benefit from it.
Because then we just get de facto counselor roles. So,
exactly.
Speaking of de facto counselor role, 10 forward hostess on TNG.
So TNG got 2 counselors, not just one.
I mean, this begs the question, doesn't it? Does every Galaxy class starship have a 10 forward host or a hostess, gender neutral?
I would think so. Yeah, of course. Why would that?
Yeah.
Why would that not be the case? I'm sure.
It's not like Picard's gets the special bonus package.
Well,
installed.
he did get the bonus package because it is the flagship.
Now,
I'm curious.
Now, the starship was free, but if you pay extra, you get a downloadable hostess, and so.
But he forgot to go for that extra Wi-Fi module for his Android, and he's regretted that every day.
It's a great question, though. Like, I wonder what the difference, like, between the Enterprise and the Yamato is. Is it literally?
We know their bridges are pretty similar.
Almost identical. what would be the difference? Because they're sister ships. Presumably that means, I guess, that right, they're built together at the same time?
Well,
Sister
same
ships.
class of vessel.
Right. Well, they didn't call all of the Galaxy class sister ships. It was just the Yamato.
I think it's either meant like they're built at the same time or they're launched very close to each other.
Yeah. So obviously the Yamato would have a 10 forward. R.I.P. Yamato 10 forward. But yeah,
the Odyssey,
of course they would have to have
R.I.P.
The Enterprise, R.I.P. Galaxy class
hashtag
not doing so
#10
good.
Hashtag 10 forward to heaven. Okay,
Pour one out. Pour one out for all the other Galaxy classes.
Daniel, we're not allowed to use that word.
Oh boy.
What, hashtag?
No. Well, maybe.
Is it outlawed in the 24th century?
Because I mean,
The Twitterverse is quite a bit different than the 24th century.
because also is like 10 forward just what the Enterprise. I mean, obviously it's deck 10 forward. I got it. But like, is that just what the Enterprise was the cute name they thought of it, or is that just what it's called on every?
So they got the domain first, and then all the other Galaxy classes are like, okay, we're gonna call it 10. Oh,
well, like on the
dang it.
Odyssey, it's just
Gone.
called like Pete's Bar or something. You know, it's just.
Pete's Bar.
Sandrines, I think is what it's called on the Yamato.
The 605 Club.
I like the idea that you can kind of customize your ship a little bit. I like the idea that like maybe it's up to maybe it's like captain's
extra
discretion.
captain's yacht bonus package, secondary
Yeah,
warp
because
core.
I mean, let's be honest. They got like the came with the ship 10 forward. You know, it's pretty plain. I assume you could get like the jazzy 10 forward, or like the New Orleans 10 forward. We just got the regular plane.
Why don't you just make 10 forward a holodeck? Literally just build it as a
Darren, then
holodeck.
the whole ship could be a holodeck. We've talked
About this, Darren.
Well, no, here's the thing, though. What was I going to say?
That's a good thing.
Yes. No, I forgot what I was going to say.
Now, and this is kind of, I know we're dwelling on TNG, but that's what we do here.
So I was just thinking, so Picard is getting ready for his new Galaxy-class ship, and I'm picturing the salesman from Arsenal of Freedom, who's like really like sleazy and just like, it doesn't matter that I'm building killing weapons. Would you like the Model XB because it kills more efficiently? Like that kind of program is, instructing Picard, and would you like gunmetal gray or like the second shade for your saucer? This one separates. That's a bonus feature.
Because then here's the question: did the Enterprise E have a whatever forward? Because I'm sure it's not deck 10.
Well, rest in peace, Scimitar conflict.
In Insurrection, I assume we saw it's whatever its equivalent would be. I don't know if it'd be like
Have to pull up
8.5
the
forward, since
blueprints,
it's a
but-
little bit
Yeah.
narrower.
And
But
did it have a host or hostess? Because presumably we did not see Guinan.
Well, but hopefully not, because remember,
didn't
I
see
just said Scimitar kind of, that's...
And we saw her at the wedding.
that wasn't
so
until
she
the
was
next
sort of
movie, so
Retired
we're-
from the
we're-
Enterprise, at least.
That's true.
yeah. Also, presumably, hopefully, I don't remember that specifically, but hopefully they evacuated 10 forward before.
Hey, Pete,
they
you better
ran
lay
the
off that
Scimitar,
synthahol.
presumably.
You know, that stuff can kill you. Oh, God!
Boy, that ship's getting really close. You don't
Man,
think the captain
this
would...
Salmarian sunspot's really getting to me.
In the background, as you see Data flying across the field of stars, there's old Pete
gosh,
floating
old
nice and
Pete.
slow.
It's broken.
Oh, okay. Well, speaking of kind of civilians, I mean, because correct me, we don't really necessarily see that many civilians. Even arguably Deep Space Nine, which we do, but not like the service industry. For instance, did we ever see any barbers outside of TNG? We have Mott, of course, the infamous Mott, the barber.
I have a feeling we saw one on Deep Space Nine at one point, but I can't quite place it.
Yeah.
I mean, someone's got to cut Worf's
I
hair.
don't remember offhand.
Or Jadzia does, probably.
I think Worf probably does.
R.I.P. Yeah.
Well, now. Well, not anymore, actually.
Also, you know what? Let's just talk about this.
I don't
How
remember.
crazy is it that Terry Farrell and Adam Nimoy are engaged?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Yeah, they've been dating a year,
What?
and now they're
Actually,
engaged.
Yes, it just happened past.
I didn't hear about
reportedly,
this.
It came out in the news
Well-
past week or two. Yeah. Is it
Yeah.
just randomest Star Trek couple ever?
It is very random, and
Daniel's sad. She
okay.
got away.
All right.
Yeah. So
That is crazy to me,
How did
but
they get
okay.
invited to that wedding?
Well, are we cordially invited? Oh no, awkward. Hashtag so not Kapla.
And then I made this up to be funny, but nevertheless, let's talk about it. Acting ensign. That seems to be a unique TNG position.
Well, so acting captain,
Yeah,
is a real thing, I
if
assume,
someone
right?
gets, like,
Or
killed
at least-
something. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So acting person in charge, but not acting the lowest ranked person here.
acting crew, acting steward.
Acting steward.
Oh man, yeah, no, it always came across as very silly to me, especially
And
since
uniform.
he gets his own rank structure
You know what?
and uniform.
It's funny, but then I think about it. I think it would have helped later. Like, in other words, 7. You're now acting lieutenant commander or something, or Neelix. You're like, at least it gives some uniform to these people, so they're not just walking around.
You know, I think one of Seven's most famous uniforms is very, very silver. It could be modified to just
A little
have
padding
the,
on it.
have the shoulder things and the even okay. They don't have to obviously give him the same uniform because that's silly. But actually, that's a great point, Philip. I would have loved for them to give some people in the future that same rank. Some of these people that are like outside of Starfleet, you just give them some sort of rank in order to put them in the system and fit them in the organizational structure. That makes a lot of sense. And okay, if you want to call this the acting ensign position, that's fine. And it would be cool to kind of have that, overall. I mean, because even like Nog went right to cadet, which makes sense. But it makes a lot of sense for just like, okay, this person is going to work on behalf of us without any like official training or anything like that. And
I mean, because there's in
I think that's a great
Discovery,
idea.
and again, I try not to do too much research here, but I do read things. There's going to be a cadet on Discovery, played by a nice ginger young lady. But I'm thinking, presumably if Discovery stays, at the edge of space for more than a season, like I could feel like if she's still a cadet, like she should be acting ensign by the end of the season. You know what? Let's see this being resurrected again. Because then I would like to see what the new Discovery pin for acting ensign looks like. Well,
I think there
she
is
has,
like a
yeah,
cadet.
she has a special cadet pin, and I forget what it looks like, but yeah.
It's got like no rank on
does
it.
she?
But it has something.
Is it like a different color?
Well,
It'd
it's
be cool if
something
it was,
I
like,
can't
blue
remember.
or
Is my-
something.
So someone can look that up while I'm talking. But and there's probably we could stay on TNG for a while. But moving on to Deep Space Nine, this I thought was funny. But anyway, so strategic operations, because that's a position we've heard before, and not just we want to have war fun and we already have a security guy. Like, can you tell me what he does on Deep Space Nine? What does Worf do on Deep Space Nine? Tell me his job
He handles the
description.
Klingons. He handles
Wait.
the Klingons, and he marries the science officers, and that's about it.
He becomes involved with the tactics at some point.
Considering that
And he's not a yellow
every
shirt.
time he's on TNG, no one listens to him.
Yeah.
But now we're going to listen to him as the tactician of
He's
the
wearing a
bunch.
red shirt.
Later on in Deep Space Nine, a lot of people get split duties because of the
That's
Well, he's
true.
first officer of the Defiant, but I'm separating that from on Deep Space Nine. He on the station, he is strategic operations officer.
But I think he's still technically that title when he's on
I get what
the
you're saying. Yeah, he's
ship
it's like
as
Spock.
well.
Yes, he's first officer as well as science officer, and yeah.
Right. I can't tell you what he does any differently than any other tactical officer. I don't know. I mean, I guess the fact that you don't, or at least in the beginning, you would assume that you would not get in as many space battles on a space station.
Still in space.
So it's more of an internal.
Yeah, I mean, look.
Well, I know,
look,
but you don't get in battles.
Darren, look at Deep Space Nine. Tell me that doesn't have the least
Right.
number of battles of any of the series.
I mean, it's not like they go to war or anything.
Well, I mean, because I remember there is some episode, of course, in Deep Space Nine, I'm terrible at, but there is some episode where, like, Worf is away, vacation, or some reason he's not there, and they have to, like, split up his duties among the senior crew, and like, oh, I have to be the intel officer, Dr. Bashir, whatever. And so like we make up these things apparently that Worf does. But then here's my question: before Worf came in season 4, who was doing these duties in season 1 through 3? Now I get there's a war going on, so maybe there's more to do than they normally would have done, but still.
That's a good question.
I don't know. That's the thing too that always like was like when he gets there and he's like, oh yeah, we need you. It's like, well, do you? Because he's not replacing anybody. Nobody's leaving. But yeah, I guess it's just the fact that there's a war going on. I mean, it makes sense because Cisco's kind of more bigger picture at that point.
Though, I mean,
I guess it makes sense.
My little thing about Deep Space Nine complaint is there's nobody. I have no idea what any people do in ops. I know what Chief O'Brien does. I know what he does because he fixes things and there's a pit for him to work in away from everyone. But no idea what any button in that ops does at all. What station is what? There's a big middle one. I think that might be a Dabo table when no one's looking. But no idea what the rest of them are for.
No, inside the actual command center, I would be
not
lost.
just because it's Cardassian. And of course, I mentioned civilians with TNG. Now we have civilians in Deep Space Nine. Like not a lot of other series have tailors.
Yes, that's a good point. Although, again, you would think that there would be no need for a tailor when you have a machine that can spit out clothes literally any size for you. Not only that, can measure you without even trying. So I would think that the use of a tailor would be an implication.
And maybe this is just more for comic reasons, but isn't there always an implication that replicators are not perfect? Like we mentioned this earlier with food. This isn't how blah blah would taste. Whatever. So like maybe the clothes are just mostly right. They still catch you in the sleeve or other areas.
I think it's just anti-tech sentiment. I think like how people today say, blah 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 blah, this is terrible for you, and I know this is awful, blah blah blah, and I'm like, no, you don't. You can't tell the difference. But I think it's just the same kind of thing. Oh, of course you could tell the difference between replicated meat and non-replicated. No, you can't.
What about organic replicated meat? Is that the most organic of organic?
You can't. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm talking about. They can't tell. There's no way. I think it's just like it's like a hip. It's a get off my lawn kind of old person attitude towards new technology, and I don't take it seriously that it can literally assemble you atom by that technology can assemble an atom by atom, but can't make it 1/2 inch shorter or 1/2.
Gosh, you're so picky, Daniel.
Tastier of meat. I'm just saying. I'm pretty sure the technology.
Because I think that gets me about Garrick, though I do like he's. I'm trying to remember the exact story. Deep Space Nine or Terok Nor, excuse me. And he's left behind. And, I guess the Bajorans come in or whatever, and he's like, what can I do to disguise myself and hide? I know. Tailor. You're like, really? That was the first thing? I like to feel like there was a list, and he went through, like, barber. No one's going to believe barber. I'd probably kill someone. And, let's see, Janet. No, don't want to do that.
See, a tailor arouses no suspicion, because a barber... You got the whole Sweeney Todd thing going. But
simple
a tailor. How many killer tailors have you ever heard of?
He could be a tinker, a tailor, a spy, a doctor,
tinkerer.
Tinkerer.
Yeah. So anyway, well, and I guess I'm also amused by how much Starfleet uses tailor because, and again, this is being speciesist or civilizationist. Like I can get that not every non-Federation person still uses money. Whatever, I'll buy it. They all still make their food, they cook, whatever. But the Federation, you know what? We're a replicator, holographic society.
That's why all their clothes look like bus seats.
Yeah, and so you hear Bashir's like, oh, or Cisco, where's that suit of mine, Garrick? And I'm like, really? Unless they're just trying to boost the local economy, in which case, how are they paying them? This opens up all sorts of questions.
Well, it's especially muddy in Deep Space Nine because in Emissary, Quark and Cisco quibble over basically rent.
Now, technically, it is a Bajoran station.
Okay.
with Federation
it's a Bajoran station.
Yes.
Co-opted by Federation.
Right.
It's very complicated. It's very, very complicated.
Well, and you have to think that Neelix has to be a tailor because no one else would make him those
Now,
suits.
that's actually interesting because he literally says, I don't know if it's Caretaker or later, that he basically went crazy with the replicator in making all of those suits. Yeah, I mean that's how he.
Did he? I don't remember that.
I think it's in Caretaker, but
that actually makes
sense. It might
sense.
be the second or the third. Well, I don't think it's the one with the yellow time traveling civilization. But anyway, I think that's what happened. So, well, speaking of Neelix, and we touched on this already, but morale officer. Now, it's kind of like a jokey title. You know, Catherine's like, "Ha ha, I guess you're a morale officer." Ha ha. But I'm like, is that not a real? Like, I mean, I'm not saying like that would be like its own position on a starship, but like. I don't know. Like I would feel like Guinan would be morale officer. You know.
Again, it's that interactivity.
Captain America is a morale officer.
Yeah, it's that in between point between like the captain and the bridge crew and the rest of the crew. Like kind of like we were saying for counselor or HR.
Or is the argument that this is gonna be very whatever, but I'm gonna go with it. That you don't need a morale officer in the regular Starfleet because we're all so taken care of. You know, we're spoiled. But Voyager being alone, you know, you're actually going to get homesickness.
I think that's part of it, certainly. I don't know. Well, yeah, like on the Enterprise.
I mean, it'd be hard to get bored on this ship.
It's it would be hard to get bored on this ship. The same thing on Deep Space Nine. It's so huge, and really, honestly, though, the thing is like, in that sense, Voyager isn't dramatically different. It is dramatically different because you're far away from your family, but it's not like you have access to holodecks, you have access to all of the which basically opens the door to anything that you want. I don't know. I think the idea of a morale officer is weird in that kind of an organization. I think that those things would arise naturally. You wouldn't want to force someone to be that position. You would have like a community leader, somebody that would just kind of naturally fill that role. It's kind of weird to, and I know it's kind of done jokingly. But he says it as it like when he goes to meet people before he's quote unquote ambassador, you know that's what he says his role is. Like that's
now,
his representation of
speaking of ambassador, now you're thinking like, well, you don't need an ambassador on a ship because that's kind of the captain's job. But something we've talked about, I don't know if it's in this iteration, but I think something maybe we've mentioned before or thought about is a first contact officer. And that's kind of what
Which I'm pretty sure Discovery's going to have one of those. Or maybe not.
Should. So, Philip, and if I may be so bold, that is the other hand of this conversation, and maybe this is a topic you can pick some other time. Star Trek roles that should have been roles, because there are a lot of positions that have never been filled that...
Security cam inventor.
Yep. Like any sort of computer specialist, it always seems like that's just part of engineering. Like that's not a separate sort of system. But anyways, there's lots and lots and lots
for the episode called Lower Decks, where you're like, we're here on deck 36. Man, it's not really well lit.
How come we never see any bathroom cleaners?
Well, then in Star Trek, is it Insurrection, where it starts off with the Uchiha 4 scene with the dinner and the counselors basically guiding him through that. I mean, that would be your first contact person or your,
protocol officer,
your ambassador. Yeah, your protocol officer.
No, I agree.
Yeah, that's something that a lot of other sci-fis kind of delve into much more where, there's dozens of species and hundreds of worlds, and they all probably have their own protocol and customs, and it's like you need someone versed in all of that, let alone religions.
Yeah.
Right. You have specialists on specialists.
Well, that's the thing, too. Like, it's like, Star Trek up till now has kind of focused on these bigger picture people anyways, but really... Like, imagine you have 1,000 people on your ship, and Geordi is the engineer that always fixes the broken engines.
Look,
that's just not how it would
trained
work.
to barrel roll like no one could barrel roll before.
Exactly. And, of course, he ends up with the credit, which would be an interesting episode to go into. But,
Star
There's-
Trek.
there-
Unsung
there are
Heroes.
Is that the final exam of chief engineers? It's a obstacle course, not a written exam.
Well, apparently
lots of unsung positions as well. It would also be cool to like learn what our favorite characters, like what they specialized in when they first started. You know, it would be interesting. You know, like it's one of my favorite things about Janeway is the fact that she's a science officer, and I don't think enough is made about it in the show. I mean, they do focus on it, especially early on, pretty frequently, but then they kind of drop it off, and it's like it's cool to know that back history, and it flavors the character.
And also,
in a
it'd be
bit.
interesting to know
Yeah.
like what she was. Like you just can't. I mean, you know.
Right. What kind of science
Right,
officer?
was she a
Yeah,
botanist?
or,
Or,
yeah.
yeah, right. Mm-hmm.
But let's be honest, Daniel. She obviously was not
No,
a
no.
botanist.
I mean, well,
She was stellar sciences,
Okay,
for sure.
this is for jokey purposes, but let's just give it 2 seconds of consideration. How can Janeway burn a pot roast in a replicator?
Yeah, it's stupid. It's a dumb joke.
Because
Women, am I right? Jeez, that's literally the joke. It's so stupid. It's like, why is this a joke? Oh, what episode was that? I don't even remember.
There's not more than one, I think.
Is it when she's like cooking for Chakotay
Yeah,
or
and then-
something? God, it's so
Sounds like a
and
Braga joke.
That's
there's
so
it's also
dumb.
the episode where it's the crewman we made up coming back from the dead.
Oh
She
yeah,
cooks for her, whatever it was.
that's just dumb. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well,
You know, well, she doesn't.
The one that
Harry
Harry
Kim's
Kim's
girlfriend.
girlfriend.
That totally existed
From Canada.
the whole
From
time
Canada.
You saw it in Voyager. Yeah, and then one last thing. Well, it doesn't have to be one last thing, but like 7. Okay, because this is where the acting ensign part would have been handy. Like what? I mean, I get it.
Acting lieutenant.
Well, like she was astrometrics, and so suddenly she's like, okay, well, she's the astrometrics officer, but like not really, because we know that's not all she does. So like, what title do you all think would be like operations? I know because that's
Borg.
Kim, but like, what would you give 7 as her? Like, what does she do?
affirmative
I mean-
Borg action.
No, she does
Affirmative
everything.
Borg
I'm not saying she
action.
doesn't. Like, I could list like she runs the whole ship as far as I know, but
No,
yeah.
she absolutely does. I think giving her the acting ensign title would work. She doesn't hold one position, although she kind of hangs out in stellar cartography quite a
Astrometrics.
bit. She's a science officer. I mean, she's essentially the science officer is what she would be.
Yeah, I mean, poor Ensign Wildman gets
Yeah, well, we haven't seen her
we
since
just keep her daughter.
since Flaughter.
Oh, captain's assistant.
Yeah.
Well, I'm talking about her mom.
Oh, that's a good one too.
Yeah, I know, but I'm talking about her
yeah.
daughter. Yeah, captain's
Oh,
assistant.
that's true. That's true. You're right. Captain's assistant is a unique role in Voyager.
Okay, look, captains are really well known for making up BS positions. We have ensign in charge of radishes,
I was gonna.
acting ensign Wesley Crusher. I'm gonna appease your mother.
Wait, are you saying, Darren, that Captain Picard is the king of participation trophies?
Oh yeah, everyone gets a participation trophy.
get a
I mean,
pip?
look at the back.
get a pip?
You did a good job on
You get a
that,
pip.
Phil. Yeah. Well, yeah. Although it was funny because I was just watching Disaster the other day, and it's funny how okay, the head girl, she gets 2, but all he can do is give the other 2 1 apiece. Like there's no way to make 3 positions
He
with
tries
4
to
pips.
break one of them in half, and
Yeah, you get no pip. You're in acting,
Crewman.
and I keep a
yeah,
pip.
there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know what position I would give 7. I mean, they seem to give her quite a bit of leeway, but well, what did they give? Do you remember what did they give Q when he turns into just a person?
Assistant engineer to the plasma core or something. Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't have like he's not wearing
Field
a
input
uniform, but he's
officer,
like helping.
yeah.
And I mean, this man was omnipotent, so
Was keyword was. I mean, he lied
But I mean,
about
he
that on
still-
his resume, and
he still
Yes, but
retains
more
that.
importantly,
knowledge,
Daniel,
at
is the
least.
ability to work in groups.
Well, 7 did not.
No, 7 did not
necessarily
do very
excel
well at that either.
That's why they gave her her own room, and you just be there.
Not just a room. She gets the whole
It's-
car.
Yeah, she practically gets a deck.
That's true. That's true. I feel like didn't they need to use that cargo bay? I mean, like once or twice, they actually were like, "Oh, sorry, 7. I actually have to use something that's in here, not just where you sleep." On the Voyager bridge, I'm 90% certain of what everything does because I can't tell you every aft station on Voyager because they're not usually properly labeled like the Enterprise D.
Well, there's the 2 kind of like pits in the back
I'm
where
talking
you
about
have.
the actual like back middle.
Oh, you mean like the Master Systems display area?
Yeah, and then there's that.
Which is, by the way, directly behind the webcam. Just so everybody knows where the important systems are. It's literally in the background of every webcam show that they've ever done. So.
And then, of course, you have the magical aft console. Well, it's not. I don't know what you call that. The console that's right behind the captain's chair. Like, would be like Wharf Station.
Well, that gets added later. It's just for 7. It's 7 Station.
I'm like, that thing does anything.
But it doesn't exist earlier. It's just a little tiny console they tacked onto the railing.
Is it kind of like, baby driving in the crib? Or you just...
doesn't actually do anything.
Just
blinks.
spin, and you're like, yes, Evan, you're doing good job.
So this is slightly off topic, Philip, but you brought it up, so I'm going to talk about it. I hate the weird symmetry of the Voyager bridge.
How it's not symmetrical? Like there's no center.
It is technically
well, it
because
is.
what it is that they don't show everything all the time. Like in other words, they made this wonderful set and they only show about 3/4 of it for the entire run. So in other words, that science station, which is parallel to the engineering, we see engineering not a lot, but
they go to it once or twice.
More than once we see engineering. Science, you see it like twice in that whole series. I think that's just where they put the
because
camera.
B'Elanna sits at the engineering. That's house left.
She's over there quite a bit. But I'm specifically talking about the fact that there's only 2 chairs in this.
But there's plenty of room for 3 chairs. Plenty of room.
Here's the thing. You either have 1 or 3, because then you denote who's important.
See,
immediately.
That's a very male point of view, Daniel. And on Voyager, we have a more of a quality.
It's not male.
Of,
anybody could be sitting.
How does the automatic camera built into the viewer know which person to look at when they open the hail?
That's why she always has to stand up, because if you sit down while you're talking, you're off center and it disturbs the aliens.
Like, could you? I think Orville made a joke of this. Like, could you step a little? Sorry, you weren't centered and just messing with me.
Now, of course, we will also have to cover Orville here soon. But anyway, those are all the sort of the unique positions I could think of. I'm sure there are more, so listeners, if you think there's one we missed from all the series that you think we should talk about, let us know. Or if there's one that we talked about that you want to add something, just let us know. Just tweet at us or go to the Nerd Party website and contact us there. But Darren, if people want to talk to you about ensuring perfect middle visual elements in Captain's Chair, where can they reach you?
Look, it's not that hard. You just draw a line down the middle and you put something in it. Okay? Problem solved. Now they can find me on Twitter under username Dr. Sci-Fi. That's DRSCIFI.
And Daniel, if people want pointers on how to create their own acting steward uniform, how can they reach you?
They can find me on Twitter at OneUpDan. That is the number of colors in the acting ensign uniform. Very monochrome. So,
all right. And if people want to be one of my franchisees in my Pete's Bars /10 Forward Emporium,
very successful.
You too can be a host or hostess. They can find me.
You're going up against Guinan Incorporated. That's steep.
That's right. Well, she's sort of the Ray McDonald of 10 Forwards. But they can find me on Twitter as well at NC Public Servant. So, Darren, what are we doing next week?
Next week, it was such a good idea that Daniel had. I had to write it down as my own. And I want us to talk about the after credit scenes of the Star Trek movies.
Yes. That's a great
No, it was a really good idea, Daniel, and I think it needs to be bumped up in our queue to next week. So be that maybe it's the little teaser that happens like midway in the credits, or maybe it's all the way Nick Furying it at the end. Maybe like Sarek is at the end of every movie and he's the link that ties it together. So you guys start thinking of your creative thoughts, and we will come together next week on City Alpha 3.
Well, until then, I'm Philip Gilfus.
I'm Darren Moser.
I'm Daniel Prue.
Stranded here on City Alpha 3.